Audicrat audio.
I tried going backwards over the years, but it's very hard for me. You know what I mean? I've had some MPC
Yeah,
products
yeah.
over time. I just got the MPC sample, which is really
Oh, you
dope.
got that?
I
Oh,
did
wanna
get that. Yeah,
so bad. I've been looking
it's
at it.
pretty sick. And the main reason I got it was to really have something for like something live. Like if I'm going somewhere to play live beats, sometimes I do. I haven't done it in a while. I hate using just like a phone or an iPad, and I don't have tables. So I have this
Yeah,
thing, which
yeah, yeah.
is something.
It's something.
Yeah, if I like want to just have a fader. But again, like I just got that really to be able to cut something quick because I'm not great. I'm not really good at cuts. I can do the basics and then edit it on the back end. But the MPC sample is really dope because it's basically like a SP404.
I was gonna say it's kind of like how people can perform with the SP404,
right?
But it's the Akai
it's very
version
similar.
of
I
it.
think.
I think that's kind of what they
and
wanted
like
to
the pads
do.
are great. It pretty much is that, and then I'm sure there's huge differences between the two. I had a SP404 for a very short time.
Yeah.
It was just not something I ever would use, so I got rid of it. This is something I could keep for a while and utilize much more for live performance. But it is awesome because it's more of an entry level thing. So
Is it?
this is something that, I mean, it's because it's much more basic. There's effects. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it, but it's not a full-fledged MPC with endless, way more capabilities. But it's very capable. But I guess, what I'm saying is just like a good entry level.
Yeah.
So out of all the times I attempted, like I had an MPC live, it was not for me.
So the live is the shit.
But again, like this goes back to like when I started. I jumped to my big thing is I need a mouse and keyboard. Like I'm very mouse and keyboard oriented.
Well, you got to go with what fits your personality.
Yeah.
You have to.
I've realized that the times I try, let me try to get this, let me try to do this, it just almost never works. So I'm always keyboard and mouse. It's just the way that I do things. I could play, I have pads.
Yeah, because I see with the
different
keys and
devices I
everything.
have. Yeah. So like I am hands on, but when it comes to actually like producing and arranging, I personally really like having the keyboard
for
and
sure.
mouse. But I wish I could kind of go off and on, but that's not something that was built into me early enough, like somebody like yourself. So I've tried.
I don't know why
many
I
times.
did that. It just happened to be, I think, the people that I was around at the time or whatnot, but it worked that way.
Yeah, I didn't have anybody really that had that type of equipment that I really knew of. Like there was a local guy that me and my friends linked with once or twice who had all this stuff. And he actually did make a beat on, I think it was an MPC. See, this is how bad I am with like the models. I think it was either the 1000 or the 2000, 2500. I'm not even sure. And he like walked me through it. So like it was cool. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. But then again, that was right before college. I went to college.
And then you learned everything.
Oops. I used Sony Acid and then Pro Tools like shortly after. And it's just
and I was
pretty much
using
been that
Ableton for a long time too when I first started. But I was only use Ableton just for recording. I wasn't using it for the production. I tried one time. For me, I was like, I can't do the mouse. I just can't. My brain is like, I need to be like all over the place. My ADHD, my OCD, whatever it is, it was just like that. Whereas like, Static, one of my mentors, Static Selecta, he uses a mouse and he kills it. You know what I mean? So everyone has their own method.
I think it's just really good to know like what is your method. Because I think sometimes it's easy for people to just bounce around and try this and that. And then they might not really be making as much as they could be making when it's just, hey, just be honest with yourself. And I had a moment years ago and I'm like, I am a keyboard and a mouse guy.
There it is.
I just need that, period. And I also like having the ability to use like a lot of VSDs and plugins like as I'm producing. Like
as
I'm
it's
big
going
on
on.
doing that.
Yeah.
It could, and that could be a dangerous road. You know what I mean? You could start over mixing when you really should be producing, but I found a good balance.
That's good.
That's just me. But I think, if you like you did, you started young on that, you're going to always have that and you're probably going to fall back to that because that's, what you started on. So that makes sense.
No, definitely. And it was like, for me, I was like doing this thing where I was working in kitchens. I had some money. So I'll be like, I'll buy this MPC, see how I like it for a while. Then, okay, I don't think this is the one. Let me buy another MPC, have both of them at the same time, then sell the first one. On eBay, doing like a little MPC hustle, flips, whatnot, and then just then landing like 12 years ago, I started using the MPC Studio, and that is like completely gone. It was like the MPC, it was the smaller version of the MPC Renaissance. So they always do like a bigger version and a smaller version. So like they just came out with the XL now. I'm sure they'll come out with like a smaller one too. But like they did the Renaissance and the Studio. Then they did the Live and the MPC 1. And then they tried to do another Studio. It didn't really work. and now I think the MPC one
See,
is
I think
mostly
I
the
actually
studio.
had the newer studio. I think I had that a handful of years back where I wanted to try to get into chopping in the MPC world, but do it more, obviously in the
Yeah, doing
digital,
the
but even that,
digital.
I think I ended up selling that. So I did have that, but I do know the one you're speaking of, the first
Yeah,
model.
the first
I think it
model,
was
and it
like
still had the
silver.
screen on it and everything. Like you could use it almost standalone, but it was just like you could use everything on the screen, which that's what I love. Is like I'm doing this, and then I'm like, ooh, a plugin. Okay, let me go switch to the computer. Okay, cool. And now I'm gonna do this. Okay, now let me chop in the computer with my mouse, kind of just fade it in, whatever. But it's been good for me for a long time, and I just haven't really had a need to switch.
Oh, is that what you're still using
Yeah,
now?
it's
The
about
first
been
version of the
almost
studio?
12 years.
Because the newer version of the studio doesn't
It
have the
doesn't
screen,
have
I
the
don't think,
screen. Yeah, it doesn't have the
which is
screen. And I
helpful.
used the MPC. Static gave me his MPC Renaissance for a long time. So I had that for about like 4-ish.
And that's the big
Yeah,
boy,
it's the
right?
big one. That's dope. I
Yeah.
love that one. That one feels like the most old school of all of them. And I had that for maybe like give or take 4 years, and then he needed it back, and now the same one was used for the Nas and Primo album with like half the beats on
Oh,
there.
that's
With
amazing.
so it's like it's dope. I was like, oh man, that was Statics, but like I also made like hundreds of beats on that one, and now I'm seeing it with Nas and Primo. Like that one
Crazy.
machine has done a lot.
I mean, it's really the best hardware you can get production, I think. I mean, at least in the hip hop world. I mean, all my keyboards are all Kai. Like I
Mhm.
use Reason exclusively pretty much for production. I do dabble in Ableton too, which is dope. We'll get into that as well.
Yeah, but
What I was
Reason
going to ask you
users
too is
are very
a special bunch.
yes.
Because a lot of the people that use Reason, I think I'm one of the odd ones out in terms of how I use it because a lot of people are really analog heads,
Mm,
and then they use Reason because
it's
it's very
it is. Yeah,
analog-ish and
yeah,
it
yeah,
looks
yeah, for
like it's
sure.
analog. So people that are really into the synth world, like all that stuff, it translates
Mhm,
over. That I don't really use it in that way. I use it in a different type
mhm.
of way. You know what I mean? The
Yeah,
way like a hip hop producer would. So I've been in groups and forums and stuff, and
I love
and
it.
like I hear people and like they really nerd out on that stuff, and I'm kind of like, I got nothing to offer here because
Yeah, yeah.
I just don't
You're like,
really
I just use it
utilize it
for
for
what I
that. But
use, you know?
right, and some people do as well, but at least in hip hop, not a whole lot of people use Reason that I've seen. Some people do for sure.
Not a lot, but I've
Um,
seen it. I've seen it, and the people and like I
yeah, oh
said, the
yeah, for
people that
sure.
use it will, like, never use anything else.
I've been using it since I was
Yeah,
20.
there
I
you
mean,
go.
I think I started it, yeah, in
Mhm.
college in one of my classes. I learned it, and it's just I
Very
love it. Yeah, there's a
intertwined in
lot of a
itself.
lot of good things. There's some things that aren't nearly as good as other software or hardware products, but it's, my personal go-to probably will always
Yeah,
be.
yeah. And now do you mix in there or do you mix in Pro Tools?
So, if I'm just doing a beat, I usually keep everything in Reason. It's very rare if I
Okay.
stem everything out, put it in Pro Tools, and mix in there
That's what I
unless
do.
I have recorded somebody. Sometimes I do that. It really depends, but for most of the time, I do everything in Reason. If I'm posting a beat video, if I'm sending out beats with like a very solid like pre-mix. Oh yeah, it's all in Reason. I do it
Well,
all in there, and I have a really good template set up for
templates are the
quick.
best.
Yeah, just like a quick access to everything I need for all my drums and the mix bus and everything. And like I said, if I'm recording vocals and mixing that way, then I'm definitely throwing everything into
Mm,
Pro Tools
okay.
and finishing it in there. But I use Pro Tools all the time too. That's my other
Yeah,
half
yeah.
of
I
everything.
mean,
So
with me,
recording, mixing is Pro
it's
Tools.
the same thing as but I'll take my stems. I won't even make an intro or anything. I'll just take like all my loops and put it in song mode in the MPC and then put it and then export it out and then put it in Pro Tools. But that's I mean, for me, it's because of, like working in studios in the city so much, you gotta kind of be like ready. So I was like, all right, every beat that I have, I need to have it in a Pro Tools session. So if someone wants to rap to it, it's already there. So I would make like a template with the beat, mix it, but then also add in to the template all the stuff for recording vocals that day. So as soon as it got picked, I would be ready to record the vocals with the mix, with the stems, with everything, you know.
It makes sense. If you're in the studio with artists all the time, totally makes sense. You just got to be one step ahead. And especially like with MPCs, I mean, they're not really built to mix on. I mean, I know the newer versions have a lot of great
They got
software
their
in it.
things, but it's not full.
Whereas Reason, I mean, they have really dope effects built in, and then you can use third parties. So
Yeah, you can use
you
third
can do
party now,
all,
right? The last like 5
yeah,
years.
Yeah, so that's why for me, it's like I can mix the beat pretty much to my
Mhm.
liking in Reason for the most part. But yeah,
Yeah.
when it comes to vocals, I'm always bouncing everything out and putting in Pro Tools
Gotcha.
myself. So yeah, I totally get that. Pro Tools is where it's
Yeah,
at for
yeah, Pro
mixing,
Tools
editing audio.
is
It's
just I mean, there's a reason why it's
I'll
a
never not
standard.
I'll never not use Pro Tools. That's one thing I'll
And you went to
probably
school for Pro
never
Tools
stop
too, I'm
using.
sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We had a studio there. Took a handful of I think like 2 or maybe like 2 Pro Tools classes, and I got like a certification. It was very basic stuff, like how to pitch vocals and things like that. But yeah, I worked in the studio there and got some hands-on experience recording people. So that definitely helped. Like without that, I mean, I probably would have dove into YouTube or
Yeah, yeah,
tried
for
to find
sure.
somebody. But obviously, being there was great. So I did learn a lot about Reason and Pro
Mhm.
Tools there, which is good.